Hey, it's Tiffin, and I'm recording this about 7 p.m. on Thursday, April 18th. Um, won't be posted until Friday. So we'll talk about Friday astrology on through the weekend and a little into next week. There is a lot of energy in the sky. You are probably picking up on it. I'm sure you are. We've been in intense cycles for the last while here, right? We've had the big solar eclipse April 8th in the sign of Aries with Chiron. My previous videos talked about that. Uh, and we are building towards a full moon in Scorpio, which will take place on Tuesday. But tomorrow morning, about 7 a.m., the sun moves into the sign of Taurus. It's been Aries season this last month with the sun in Aries, and we have had Mercury and Venus in Aries and the North Node and Chiron in Aries. And we are still in a Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury's been making its way back through the sign of Aries. It met up with the sun. It met up with Chiron. It's meeting up with Venus right now. And it's going to back up until next Thursday, the 25th, where it will turn direct. And then it'll traverse the Aries a third time, going direct. So this Mercury retrograde time, I've really been feeling this as a helpful energy this time. Kind of helpful in the sense that Mercury retrograde tends to have us slow down our thinking and review and reevaluate and rest and reconsider things. And in the sign of Aries, which is fast and fiery, having a bit of a slowdown, I have felt helpful. And it's been, there have been some typical Mercury retrograde mix-ups. I was to meet a friend for breakfast the other morning, and I was running a little late, the Mercury retrograde thing. She texted, no problem, I'm inside, I got a table. Great. I walked into the restaurant, and there's one guy in the whole restaurant, not my friend. And I'm like, oh, she's not here, actually. So I'm texting, she's like, oh, I meant that their names of these cafes are similar, and she was at the one in the other town. So, okay, I'll be there in a few more minutes. And so that mixed communication around just where we were meeting was just, a low stakes, not big drama, Mercury retrograde confusion. And I just bring that up to share a lighter example. You might be experiencing miscommunications, late meeting, mix up in directions, and things like that. But I think on the deeper psychological and spiritual level, Mercury retrograde in Aries is having us reflect on who we are, what we want, and how we're going about our lives. Aries is that sign of identity, desire, and our motivation to go for things in our lives. And so having an opportunity in the next week, so one more week of Mercury retrograde, to really reflect on those things and to tap into what is your true desire now in this moment. Aries is a very fast and of the moment kind of an energy and an emerging new energy. And that solar eclipse new moon with Chiron was a set point, a reset point, to start something really new for ourselves, really new in who we know ourselves to be, really new in our awareness of and expression of our desires and inspirations and motivations. So all of the things that get us lit up and that we want to do something about. Mars rules Aries, and that's the planet of action and forward movement. Okay. Talked last time, there's still 3 planets in Pisces. We have Saturn and Mars and Neptune back in Pisces Pluto's back at the beginning of Aquarius, and Pluto's going to be a big player energy in this full moon. So let's set that stage. The sun moves into Taurus tomorrow morning, changing the vibe of our awareness. So each month that the sun travels through a different sign of the zodiac, it's like we're changing the lens for our awareness. Our awareness during Aries season, very much about what's new beginning, what do I want, what's new, and there's a fire and an inspiration and kind of a spark to Aries season. Sun moves into Taurus, an earth sign, fixed earth sign. It's slower, it's more grounded, it's more embodied and sensual. Taurus season tends to be really focused on pleasure and aesthetics and value, what's important to us, what's good, Taurus, you know? And what do we have? What are our resources, tangible and intangible? The natural world here where I am is bursting into full leaf and bloom, and the days are warming up a bit. I was able to eat in a t-shirt candles all day, and it was really pleasant out. I had pants on too. Um, a bit silly, but really enjoying being outdoors, and it's comfortable during Taurus season usually. Not yet too hot, not too cold, just beautiful, really. So Taurus season this year has some big energies in it. So we've been in this buildup for the last several weeks with the planets in Taurus getting closer and closer together. Planet Jupiter, our planet of expansion, abundance, growth, has been approaching planet Uranus, the planet of change, sudden insight, awakening, and unpredictable change. So as Jupiter and Uranus meet up exactly on Saturday the 20th, that will begin a whole new cycle between those two planets. And in astrology, that's called a synodic cycle. So Jupiter is faster moving than Uranus, and it meets up with Uranus about every 14 years. So there's been a lot of talk online in the astrology world, a lot of excitement and hype about this Jupiter and Uranus meetup, and a lot of fear. But I think the fear comes from uncertainty. We don't really know how it's going to show up. You expand uncertain change, and that can be thrilling and exciting and, a brilliant new start. And it can be shocking and sudden. And, no wonder people are nervous about that or a little anxious about that. In the build up to it, I know I've been feeling like, kind of wired and kind of my nervous system just feels kind of electrified. And Uranus has that energy. And in the sign of Taurus, it is about our bodies. It is about the earth. If you've been watching Earth weather news, there's been a lot of Earth events of volcanoes and earthquakes and floods and like dramatic things with the earth. And that's often aspects and big aspects to Uranus and Taurus have correlated with big earth events. And we may see more. In our personal lives, I think we can work with this with intention. What's an awakening or a setting free for my growth? Where have I been maybe too loyal to something and it needs to be set free? Where have I been too stuck in my routines? Taurus is slow and steady and likes like a habit and a ritual. Where does that need to be set free or started anew? The Jupiter Uranus can be a real new cycle. So you might think about that. Depending where in your chart this transit happens, that theme of that house of your chart in the area of your life be up for some new growth and some new change. Um, so think of it personally that way. If 21 degrees of Taurus is in aspect or conversation with any planets in your chart, you'll feel this more personally. My moon is at 20 Leo, so that's a square to 20 Taurus, very close. My Jupiter is right there at 23 Taurus. So I know I'm feeling it. And yet I'm not yet sure what it's going to look like, you know? And that's the thing I think with astrology and following the transits is we can get a sense of the energetic weather pattern out there in the cosmos, and we can kind of know, oh, okay, I can kind of ride that wave. I can know this is a day with tension, or I can know this is a day that feels like big opportunities. But we don't know exactly, and the universe isn't going to do something for us or to us. But we can work with it with um, our intentions and our actions to line up with or work with the energies presenting. Um, and then on Tuesday, we have a full moon and a full moon in the sign of Scorpio. And the Scorpio full moon is often a really intense feeling moon. Scorpio is the fixed water sign with power and the shadow and the mystery to it. And the full moon is a time every month where something new is illuminated, right? Something of the dark night sky is fully illuminated. And so, and then there's a point of release. And so this Scorpio full moon following that Aries new moon eclipse, I think this is where we get to see the shadow of the new cycle or the shadow of that very direct Aries energy. Scorpio themes are around deep connection and committed relationships, around uh, collective human experiences, the mystery, the shadow, our emotions, our full range of emotions. And so full moons tend to be felt strongly, or you feel people are more emotional. And Scorpio is one of the more intensive feeling signs. And so this could be a very powerful full moon. So you might feel that these few days in building up too. But again, with a full moon, it's a time of opening to awareness, a time of questioning, like, what's here for me? What can I see? What am I ready to see? And then how do I want to empower that for my good, for my growth? And that theme is this full moon is really intensified by planet Pluto. I mentioned that Pluto was a big player here. So sun and moon opposite full moon, and then Pluto is at 90 degrees to both the moon and the sun. So it is like here, and it's making a big right triangle in the chart. Pluto in Aquarius, deep change, transformational change around our conceptual frameworks, our collective communication and technology, and the future potentials of humanity. A lot of themes with Pluto and Aquarius that are just beginning to come to the surface. But Pluto's energy is a potent kind of a demand for transformation, for letting go of the layers and the protective things and like peeling off and revealing the new growth. So Pluto energy is death and rebirth kind of an energy. And so that to me sounds very intense between the moon in Scorpio that is following an Aries new moon. So at the time of the full moon, the sun will have moved into Taurus. It's reflecting that Taurus sunlight. But it's the full moon after the Aries new moon. And so both Aries and Scorpio are signs ruled by Mars. And so this is a strong, warlike, masculine yang energy ruling both the new moon that grew into this full moon in Scorpio. But the sun in Taurus is ruled by Venus. And planet Venus is currently with Mercury. So our minds are going to Venus themes of relationship, aesthetics, values, money, goodness. Uh, and with that Mercury being retrograde, you might be revisiting those themes or those questions, your finances, your relationships, your values, what's important to you. And reflecting and revising is really what that's about. I Today was full of those things for me, actually. Um, some financial questions and my financial advisor, and deep conversation with a dear friend, reflecting on some of our past communication and what we appreciate about each other and values. And that actually looking back is very spot on for Mercury and Venus in Aries with Mercury retrograde. So when you're following astrology, you can start to notice how these things do show up, either intentionally or like, oh, look at that. I happen to be dealing with this uh, financial question and on this day, this particular day. I find that really interesting and uh, comforting to go, oh, right, okay, I'm working with the flow of the energies. All right, I think that's about what I want to say. This is really big energy. I'm really curious how it's showing up for you, how you are opening to uh, new growth and new awakening with the Jupiter Uranus meetup, what you're feeling as this eclipse energy is, we're growing into it. And also, if these conversations are hearing my my conversations or chats to you, my thoughts, is intriguing and you want to dive in a little deeper, I would love to have you join us on Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. My friend, colleague, partner, Eiley, and I are doing our Stars and Cards Zoom gathering for the full moon. I know we'll be talking about Jupiter and Uranus as well. It's a big part of this current energy. If you've not joined us yet, come as our guest by filling out the jot form in the description notes. And if you've been a time or two as a guest, join us in the Patreon community. It's a really regular, about every 2 weeks, time to meet up and work with the astrological energies and tune in with some tarot guidance and oftentimes a visualization or an embodied practice to explore the energies. And I'm finding it really rich and meaningful to gather with people and have these exploratory, experiential um, conversations around the astrology. Okay, have a wonderful beginning of Taurus season, knowing that Taurus season is permission to enjoy being in your body and having your senses, your sense of touch and sight and smell and taste, and like enjoy being physical and on the planet. There's so much beauty out there and so much goodness, even as there is so much uncertainty and crisis and terrible things. But Taurus season, we can calm our nervous systems and we can tune in with our senses and enjoy life. So find the beauty, find the pleasure, and have a great week with the full moon in Scorpio. Take care.